Now, the Paris 2024 Summer Olympics is just about 6 months away, and it's already facing international controversy. That's because Russian and Belarusian athletes will be competing at the Games. Ever since Russia began its war on Ukraine, they've been blacklisted from international sporting events. And because Belarus allows Russians to use their land for the attacks, Belarusian players also got banned. The war has been on for almost 2 years now, and things are starting to change slowly. Sporting bodies are reconsidering their bans on Russia and Belarus. First, it was tennis. Players from both the countries were allowed to play as neutrals. Then it was FIFA when they lifted the ban, Russian clubs and the under-17 national team. Now it's the Olympic Committee. They are allowing Russian and Belarusians to compete as neutral athletes, except there's a problem. The athletes can compete in every sport except track and field. That's because the president of World Athletics, Sebastian Coe, disagrees with the International Olympic Committee. You know, the Russians aren't happy about this when President Vladimir Putin addresses the issue himself. He says that if the Olympic Committee is not clear about Russian athletes, then the Olympics will be buried. Putin is saying that now allowing Russian athletes to fly their national flag is not allowing them, in fact, is a political attack, something that he will not tolerate.
The world is excited for the Paris 2024 Olympics. The grandest of all sporting events is back in July next year. Hundreds of nations and thousands of athletes will take part. But it seems like the spotlight is already on two countries, Russia and Belarus. February 2024 marks 2 years since Russia started its war on Ukraine. When the war began, Russia and Belarus were blacklisted from international sports. But things are slowly changing. Tennis was the first sport to soften its stance, then it was FIFA. And now it is the International Olympic Committee, or the IOC. According to the IOC, Russia and Belarusian athletes can compete as neutrals. This means that they cannot sport or fly their national flag, and no team events either. Only individual events at sporting disciplines. But there are other restrictions too. The World Athletics body has raised objections to the International Olympic Committee's decision. Their president Sebastian Coe does not want Russian and Belarusian athletes to take part in track and field events.
No, you may well see some neutral athletes from Russia and Belarus in Paris. They just won't be in athletics. And the position that our sport took and has consistently taken is unchanged. So there's Franco, there's really not much. There's nothing more I can really add to that other than that it's a settled position. It's a position the council took. It's one that's endorsed by the executive board, and on two separate global occasions has been endorsed almost unanimously by the athletics family.
Sebastian Coe says that he is not against Russian or Belarusian athletes. He says the World Athletics body does not recognize neutral athletes.
I guess ours is, again, sorry Wakako to repeat myself, but ours is a settled position. We have made the judgment that there will be no neutral, there will be no fully fledged or even neutral status athletes. On the Friendship Games, I'm not getting too excited about that. We've had a couple of federations that have made inquiries, and we made it clear that it doesn't really fit within our own values and competition structures.
The stance of the Olympics Committee is not clear when it comes to Russia and Belarus. The Olympic Committee first allows them to compete as neutrals, but the World Athletics body would not allow Russia into track and field events. Naturally, Russia lashed out. Here's what President Vladimir Putin had to say.
Everybody knows an athlete is ours, regardless of flag. This is an obvious thing. This why is supported in principle that our athletes should take part in such competitions. But now we have to analyze carefully the conditions put forward by the IOC.
Putin says that the Olympic Committee is playing with the emotions of the athletes. Russia believes that the World Athletics body is trying to continue to blacklist its athletes.
If the aim is to cut our leading athletes off and to show that the Russian sport does not develop or even is dwindling, the Ministry of Sports and Russia's National Olympic Committee must analyze and make a balanced decision.
If the president of the country has to step in, then things really must be serious. Sebastian Coe's latest quip is that things could change. Is that an indication of a U-turn? Well, the ball is clearly in the court of the Olympics Committee. Will it succumb and change the rules, or will they ignore Putin?